The economic earthquake has begun. On August 1st, 2025, President Trump unleashed what many are calling the most aggressive tariff offensive in modern American history. From Canada to Switzerland, from Brazil to Taiwan, dozens of nations are now facing crushing import taxes that will reshape global trade forever. While mainstream media panics, we're going to break down exactly which countries got hit the hardest, why Trump's strategy is working, and what this means for America's economic dominance. This is the tariff bomb that's sending shockwaves through every foreign capital, and it's just the beginning. 4 months ago, on what President Trump called Liberation Day, April 2nd, 2025, he made a promise to the American people. He declared that our massive trade deficits constituted a national emergency and announced reciprocal tariffs of up to 50% on countries bleeding America dry. The global establishment went into meltdown. Stock markets crashed, foreign leaders scrambled, but Trump gave them 90 days to negotiate in good faith. That deadline came and went on August 1st, and President Trump delivered exactly what he promised. Let's start with the countries that thought they could call Trump's bluff and got absolutely crushed for it. Switzerland, hit with a devastating 39% tariff rate. This wealthy European nation apparently believed their banking sector made them untouchable. They were wrong. Swiss officials are now desperately seeking a negotiated solution after refusing to engage seriously during the 90-day window. Brazil, slammed with a 50% tariff rate. But this isn't just about trade. President Trump is sending a clear message about Brazil's persecution of former President Jair Bolsonaro, a Trump ally who's facing politically motivated trials. When you go after America's friends, you pay the price. Laos and Myanmar, both hit with 40% tariffs. These Southeast Asian nations thought their small size would protect them. Trump's message is clear. Every country, no matter how small, must respect fair trade principles. Our northern neighbor got hit with 35% tariffs, up from the previous 25%. Why? Because Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has completely failed to stop the flow of deadly fentanyl across our border. Canadian leadership is disappointed. American families burying their children from fentanyl overdoses are devastated. Algeria and Libya, both facing 30% tariffs. These North African nations have shown zero interest in reciprocal trade relationships with America. India, facing 25% tariffs after negotiations completely broke down. Despite Trump's personal relationship with Prime Minister Modi, India refused to open its protected agriculture sector to American farmers. When you shut out American products, America shuts out yours. But here's what the media won't tell you. Some countries were smart enough to recognize Trump's strength and negotiate. The United Kingdom agreed to 10% tariffs, up from just 1.3% previously, but avoided much worse. Even though America actually runs a trade surplus with the UK, Trump secured better terms for American workers and businesses. The European Union accepted 15% tariffs across the board. This is a massive increase from their previous low single-digit rates, but they avoided the 30% Trump was threatening. European leaders finally acknowledged that America has been subsidizing their defense while they've been undercutting our trade. Japan also agreed to 15% tariffs. Prime Minister Kishida understood that Japan's access to American markets is a privilege, not a right. Mexico got a 90-day extension after President Claudia Sheinbaum personally called Trump. About 85% of Mexican exports will be protected under USMCA rules, but Trump is maintaining 50% tariffs on Mexican steel, aluminum, and copper, plus 25% on autos. Mexico also agreed to eliminate non-trade barriers immediately. Now, the mainstream media is crying about higher prices for American consumers. Let me break down the real economics here. First, these tariffs are already working. We're seeing American manufacturing surge as companies move production back to the United States. The Tax Foundation estimates these policies will generate nearly $40 billion in federal revenue in 2025 alone. Second, countries are scrambling to cut better deals. Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te is already saying their 20% rate is temporary, and they expect to negotiate it down. Switzerland is begging for talks. This is how you negotiate from strength. Third, Americans understand that short-term adjustment costs are worth long-term economic independence. We've been subsidizing foreign manufacturers for decades, while our own industrial base withered. Those days are over. What we're witnessing is the systematic dismantling of a rigged global trade system that has been bleeding America dry for decades. Previous administrations talked about free trade, while other countries practiced managed trade, protecting their own industries while flooding our markets. Trump's approach is simple. If you want access to the world's largest consumer market, you pay a fair price and you treat American workers and businesses fairly. If you don't, you face the consequences. The results speak for themselves. Companies are already announcing massive investments in American factories. Foreign leaders who once ignored our trade complaints are now flying to Washington hat in hand. The global supply chains that made America vulnerable are being restructured with America at the center. But we're not done yet. China faces an August 12th deadline to finalize their trade deal with the Trump administration. Beijing thought they could wait Trump out, but they're learning the same lesson as everyone else. President Trump keeps his promises. If China doesn't deliver a comprehensive agreement covering trade deficits, technology transfer, and fair market access, they'll face the full force of American economic power. And after what we've seen this week, no one doubts Trump will follow through. What Trump has accomplished in just 6 months back in office is nothing short of revolutionary. He's replaced a rules-based system written by globalist bureaucrats with a results-based system that puts America first. Countries can no longer take American consumers for granted. They can't rely on sweet deals negotiated by weak American leaders. They have to earn their access to our markets by treating us fairly. This isn't just about economics. It's about respect. For too long, America has been the world's piggy bank, while other countries laughed at our generosity. Those days are over. The August tariff offensive has sent an unmistakable message to every capital around the world. America is back, America is strong, and America will no longer be taken advantage of. The countries that got hit the hardest this week, they had 4 months to make a deal. They chose to test Trump's resolve instead. Now they're paying the price for that miscalculation. And for the American people, we're finally seeing a president who keeps his promises and puts our workers, our farmers, and our manufacturers first. The tariff bomb has detonated. The global economic order is being reset, and America is winning again. The establishment told us Trump's tariff strategy would fail. Instead, it's working exactly as promised. Countries are cutting deals, American manufacturing is surging, and our trade partners are finally treating us with respect. This is what happens when America has a president who negotiates from strength, not weakness. The August tariff offensive is just the beginning, and the world is learning that when Trump makes a promise, he delivers.